Hello everybody, this is Daniel Peters with my Mastery of Metal lesson on how to create a heavy metal solo. So this will be one of several lessons. I'm actually making my song Berserk at the moment and I'm constructing several parts for the solo. So I'm going to show you how I actually do this. And the first thing that I want to explain is that when I'm making my solos, I'll use a metronome and I'll use a rhythm backing track, which I make myself. Now I use an RC500 loop pedal, but you could use your mobile phone, you know, record some rhythm or something, but just actually be playing with a metronome or be playing with some sort of rhythm, so you're not just soloing randomly. So the first thing I'm going to work on with this solo, and I'm actually really constructing this solo, so this is not a, what's the word? It's not just a sort of made up thing. I'll be recording this probably in the next month or two. So I've got a riff, which is like a breakdown in the middle of the song. And I've decided to do some finger tapping, or in my case I use my pick tapping. Now when you make a solo, it's good to have a concept or an idea beforehand for what you want it to sound like. So if you want it to be like a slow, like, have an idea, or if you want it to be a hectic, you know, like sort of thing, find some solos that you actually like. Learn some of the moves you want to put in and consider it. So as I said, this solo will be some finger tapping. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my backing track. So using my loop pedal and the metronome at 170 BPM, I'm just going to record that backing. So let's do that first. Okay, we'll stop here and I'm just going to get the metronome at 170. Okay, so I've got my metronome at 170 and I'm just going to record a few rounds of this on my loop pedal. It's pretty simple rhythm backing. So I'll give myself a count in. Okay, so that'll help me to practice. Now, I'm going to do that again, so I'll have two. So here's another one, and this will be recorded on the loop pedal. Okay, now that'll be enough for my backing track. Okay, so now I've got my backing track and I'm going to jam some finger tapping on the top and see what sounds good. So this will be sort of feeling out for where I want my solo. Okay, so now I'm starting to find some notes. And see where I actually want this finger tapping to be. So I've got like a pattern. Here we go again. See where it sounds good. Okay, so this gives you an idea, the actual process I do, and I'll find a really good position. And I'll do this over and over. May take me an hour, but I'm actually showing you sort of how my whole process works. Now this loop pedal, we'll just do this over and over. And I can keep on practicing until I can find, experiment in different places where it will be sort of perfect, and I'll lock it in. So I don't know if I'm entirely happy with that. Trying up a bit higher. I think I prefer it down low. So I like this one, which is on 3, 6, and so let's try this one. I think that sounds quite good. And maybe even a bend out. Okay. So I'm experimenting back and forth, as you can see there. Now, I'll stop doing this. So just to give you an idea, so that doesn't seem too chaotic, what I've been doing, first I've created a rhythm backing track, and that's at 170 BPM, and I'm using my loop pedal. You could use a computer or you could use a mobile phone, but make a rhythm backing track and use a metronome, because then you'll be in time and your solo isn't going to be sort of confused. And then I've been experimenting with different patterns. And as I said, you want to have a concept. In this case, I want finger tapping. So I've been finding different places. And I've been jamming with my backing track. Now what I will do, which I won't do in this lesson, is I'll experiment with that probably for at least a few hours, and I'll try different positions until I'm happy. And I've locked in what I want to do. Then I'll practice it and then ultimately record it in the studio, which you'll be able to hear the final product when my song Berserk is released, which is my 4th song. Now, a final thing for this lesson on a guitar solo will be a different style of solo. In this same song, I plan to have a main solo. Now, the backing I have for that is a pattern, rhythm pattern like this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to record that onto my loop pedal. I don't know how long it's going to be, so I'll just play it over and over. It's going to be the same pattern at 170 BPM. Now I've chosen this, and you notice that I've got a lot of space in between the notes. It's not really busy, it's not like... Because if I do that, you won't be able to hear the solo come through with the rhythm. So it's good to make your patterns quite sort of sparse. You don't want them to be too busy. That way, you will actually be able to hear your solo quite well, and it'll accentuate it. So let's record this with the loop pedal. Okay, so let's record this with the loop pedal. See if I can remember it. Okay, I've recorded that, played it over and over. So now I'm going to do the same thing I did with my finger tapping solo and just try to jam with it. But this will be a different style of solo. So not finger tapping. Let's see what I do for this. Okay, so playing now with the backing track I've just recorded. Here we go. And I like that. So I'm sort of finding some things I like with that. And this is sort of thinking about the intro. And just finding places where I actually like the sound to match this backing track. So you want to be sort of methodical and you want to come up with the different parts. So if I focus on this intro, wait for the riff to cycle through, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. I'm finding some sort of slow notes that I actually like with that. Okay, so that's an example of how I might begin the introduction for the solo. Now, if I went through my whole process, this could take hours, you know. But I've just given you an idea. Of some notes that I'm sort of liking just for the introduction of the solo. Now the solo is going to progress obviously and it might go like maybe a bit of repetition with that. And then maybe say like a little scale progression, you know, like so if I've now got whatever I was doing there, and then sort of I'm sussing out some ideas for that. That's going to be quite a long process, but it gives you an idea how I actually create my solos. From there I could move to something faster, you know, get some shredding in. Okay, so this is a little bit messy and chaotic, but it is showing you basically, you know, the skeleton of how I might develop a solo, and then practice it and refine it and have it, you know, to the final stage, which you will be able to hear this on my song Berserk when it's released. So if you watch this video, check that out and see what I come up with in the end. Now, the final thing for this is that this is not just a fixed way for you to develop a solo. For example, Steve Vai, he actually hums some of his solos verbally and then translates it onto guitar. I had the riff for this same song, Berserk, the main riff is like this. It's I also did that just by imagining it and sort of, you know, playing it in my head first before I actually... But I did have an actual concept, which was that it was going to be quite fast, and I experimented. I decided 170 BPM on the metronome. To give you an idea, Megadeth's fastest song is 190, but it really depends what you're playing as to how fast you'll go on the metronome, because some things are played better at, say, 130, for example, or even 110, depending if you're playing like some complex scales, or if you're actually just sort of flat out, you know, just playing on one string. Now I hope you can sort of see a bit of my process. So I'll just outline the main points, have a backing track, have some rhythm, something solid to play with your solo. Have it with a metronome so that when you actually play with a band or with drums, you'll have it all in time. Map out your ideas against that backing track as you heard me do. Find the notes that you like. And once you've figured it out and it's set in stone, then just practice it and rehearse it, and you should have a lovely solo. Oh, and sorry, one more thing, have an actual concept. Know what you want to play. Do you want fast tremolo picking? Do you want slow notes? You know, what sort of feeling will it have? This should certainly help you to create an excellent solo, and please check out some of my solos from my band Retaliation Unleashed, and hopefully you can criticize them and, you know, fling some mud on them if you don't like them. Thank you very much, and please like and subscribe. Have a nice day.